Hello and welcome to Todd Rolls Dice, where we're playing catch up today. I know that this dropped yesterday. I was helping my girlfriend move house yesterday, and as a result of that, and doing far too much on Sunday with other streams and my voice, I lost all of yesterday. Not quite sure how we're going to get through today, because there is a lot to catch up on. They announced a lot of stuff yesterday, and then obviously whatever drops today we're going to want to cover, and I've got a few other things, so today might be a busy day. But we're going to kick off today's videos with another look at the Horus Heresy 3.0. So this time, as promised, we're going to take a look at the challenge phase, step, whatever it was called, and see what's changed for the upcoming revamp of Horus Heresy. This is Rules in the Age of Darkness, a challenge of champions. The Horus Heresy was a struggle. Are we really going full historical language here? Between the most powerful heroes and villains of their age. A clash of demigods upon the worst battlegrounds imaginable. And while the backdrop is a galaxy in flames, the most iconic moments of all are the epic duels between brothers and rivals. Whether it's two Primarchs trading blows while their legions battle around them, or lone captains bitterly locking blades in some forgotten, cratered wasteland. These are the points around which the entire saga hinges. I guess that's true. If you're going to make a game on a book series, or a book series on a game, you need to make it about the characters. At some point, you probably need to make an element of the game focused on characters. And I think it always did. I think they always did it well. I think Primarchs and things always had their place in Horus Heresy, didn't they? Certainly a lot of characters. They had a huge host of resin characters, and they'd still, up until recently, they'd still been releasing them and previewing them. So yeah, character stuff, I'm all in on that. Up to now, these confrontations weren't really replicable on the tabletop. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Sure, the Primarchs had impressive stats and loads of special rules, but while they could certainly knock lumps out of one another, they hadn't been dueling until now. Okay, interesting, because I don't know anything about previous editions of Horus Heresy, so this is all new to me. Let me know in the comments, veteran players, people who know how 2.0 plays. Could you replicate Primarch duels and characterful moments in your games? I expect the answer to be yes, maybe not in quite a focused way as this, or hopefully what we're going to see is this, but I expect that you could still have those big moments. That one captain, that one unit holding out against all odds. It is a dice game after all, everything hinges on fate and luck. Anyway, back to the article. The new challenge subphase makes these into the pivotal confrontations they should be. Broadly speaking, it works like this. This is an extra step in the assault phase. In your turn, you may issue one challenge per combat as long as a character is involved. So it's an extra bit of admin, but you can have a character model on your army. Is this as long as they've charged? Again, they're not giving us all of the details. Can you charge and then issue it, or can you be charged and issue the challenge to your charger, therefore negating some of their... So many questions. They might answer it, but these articles have been very sparse on actual detail, haven't they? So your opponent may then accept, in which case they nominate a champion, or they may refuse. If they do so, one of their heroes sheepishly steps back from the combat, and their cowardice is rewarded by a hefty penalty in their combat ability that turn. Only models with a command or champion subtypes may issue and accept challenges. Champions are heroes whose main job it is to take on these challenges, while command models also bring other benefits, like helping them pass advanced characteristic checks. Yeah, a little bit more detail, please. If the active player declines to issue a challenge, their opponent may initiate a duel themselves via the heroic intervention reaction. Okay, so the active player issues the challenge. I'm going to assume the active player is the player who charges. So you do this. They said assault phase. I'm assuming that just means the charge phase. So you roll your dice, you get in, you charge into a unit, you've got your champion and the unit around them, or however it works in Heresy, and you go, "Oi, you, I'm going to cut your face off." Something like that. I suppose it means the players can have that interaction as well, which is kind of cool. But you issue your challenge. The opponent then has to say, "Yeah, I'm going to take you on." How inevitable. And then, like, the lights go down, everybody parts as these two heroic characters face off against each other. Or he says, nah, I'm good. And it sounds like they get such a hefty penalty that they're probably going to lose the combat anyway. So why would you not accept the challenge? Other than it being a really fun idea, why would you not accept the challenge? But this is all done in the active players, or by the active player. So the active player, if the active player charges in, doesn't issue a challenge, you can use your heroic intervention reaction with one of your command or champion to say, well, come on then, you've come this far, see what happens. As a narrative rule, as something themey, as a fun little interaction between players, it sounds good. None of this tells us what it actually is. Oh, we might be getting into it. Oh no, this is Gambits. Okay, maybe we will get into it. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on them because these articles have been a bit light on detail. Okay, let's see if I'm right on any of that then. Once the challenge is accepted, the two combatants are then separated from the wider fight to face off. This is something that's already in Heresy though, isn't it? I swear I've seen people playing Heresy and doing this. So starting with the active player, both players choose a gambit for their champion. There are plenty to choose from, representing ways in which your warrior might approach the coming throwdown. There are 9 universal gambits, which offer defensive and offensive boosts, as well as several that are unique to legions and characters. All of that sounds really good. The Emperor's Children are excellent single combatants, but the World Eaters are more about carving up not only your immediate opponent, but anyone else who's foolishly standing nearby, so they're just going to swing the axe and see what happens. I like it. Seize the initiative. If this gambit is selected, then the controlling player may roll an additional dice in the focus step and discard the dice with the lowest result before determining the total. Flurry of Blows. If this gambit is selected, then the model controlled by the player that selected this gambit gains a bonus of plus D3 to its current attack's characteristic. Any hits inflicted by these attacks have their damage characteristic set to 1 and may not be modified by any special rules, including Shred X or Critical X. Okay, so you may get 3 extra attacks, but it's just okay. I mean, it is more quantity over quality, so I get that, but again, you're going to have to keep track of these extra attacks and make sure that you don't apply any special rules that they might normally have. And again, it's a bit more admin, isn't it? Feint and Riposte. This gambit may only be selected by the player choosing the first gambit in the face-off step. Once selected, the player that selected this gambit may name any one other gambit, including faction-specific gambits that the player does not have access to, and the opposing player may not select that gambit in this face-off step. Okay, so you just deny a gambit, but you don't gain any benefits other than stopping them having a gambit that they may not be using, right? Finishing Blow. If this gambit is selected, then the controlling player must roll an additional dice in the focus step with the highest result before determining the total of that focus roll. However, a model with which the Finishing Blow gambit has been selected gains a bonus of +1 to the strength and damage characteristics of all hits inflicted in the strike step. So we have a focus step and a strike step. These gambits are a bit too wordy for my liking. Obviously, once you get playing the game and you do them more regularly, you'll pick your favourites, you'll figure out what you want to do, but it sounds like there's a lot of them. Which is good, but they're just incredibly wordy. Once your gambit is selected, make the focus roll. The order of striking is usually decided by initiative, a significant advantage. Not so in striking. Okay. Instead, both players roll a dice, adding their initiative and any modifiers from gambits, wargear, special rules, or the support of nearby troops. That's a lot of buffs. There are penalties if your character is wounded or wearing especially heavy armor. The winner of the roll gets an extra attack and strikes first. This sounds very complex. As someone who I've never seen this in a game this way. The closest that I can think of is current kill team rules, where you have like a you go, I go, you both have a dice pool of attacks that hit. and you can parry or block or whatever. It's nowhere near as involved as this. This sounds very complex. It sounds cool, right? Don't misunderstand me criticizing this, thinking it's negative. It sounds really cool. And as an idea, I think that this is really cool. We're still reading the rules. There's still obviously quite a bit to go. I think there's a lot here. Certainly, it sounds like, there's buffs, there's negatives, there's stuff from gambits, from wargear, from special rules or troops or... Yeah, that sounds like a lot. We have another rule here, Duelist's Edge. A weapon with a Duelist's Edge X special rule grants a bonus to focus rolls in challenges. Okay, I mean, it makes sense that weapons would have a buff. In step 3 of the challenge sub-phase, the focus step, how wordy is all this? If a player has declared that the model under their control will use a weapon with the Duelist's Edge X special rule, or has the Duelist's Edge X special rule, then the player gains a bonus equal to the value of X on the focus roll. So for the saber down here, it's +1. You will probably have characters who are expert duelists. Sigismund, for instance. Corswain. Characters like this. Lucius? Was Lucius around in the Heresy? Characters like that will probably have Duelist's Edge 1, 2, 3, depending on where they are in the scale of duelists. Weapons obviously add this as well, but this is all sounding very, not necessarily complicated, but very admin heavy. But certain weapons are better in a challenge than others. Anything that increases your initiative is very useful, such as the Power Lance. In a duel, a Power Lance? Really? While weapons with the Duelist Edge X special rule add the value of X to the roll. The Sharnable Saber is a consummate dueling weapon, offering an effective +2 on the roll. Where are we getting the +2? With a bonus to the bonus to initiative and Duelist's Edge 1. So where does it say it gets in +1? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, of course. +1 to initiative and Duelist's Edge gives you a +2 in total. It's less lethal than a powered blade, however. So you will be likely to strike first, but you may not pierce armor as effectively. The Black Sword of Sigismund is a prime example of exquisite artificer weaponry, boasting Duelist's Edge 2, alongside a profile that would make any opponent worried, as you'd expect. So the Black Sword, it gives you a +3 because it's... No, that's an I, isn't it? It just gives you the 2. So the Black Sword gives you the same bonus. It's better stats, alright? But it gives you the same bonus to your Duelist's Edge as the Saber, which is a nothing weapon. It's just a dueling sword. The Black Sword gives you no bonus to your initiative. That is an I, isn't it? Yeah. But you do get Duelist's Edge 2, you get critical hit 6+. No other traits. Should it not be better than that? Perhaps the standout dueling weapon in the game is the White Tiger Dao wielded by Jagatai Khan. This lightning blade increases his already impressive initiative to 9, higher even than Fulgrim. And with Duelist's Edge to boot, he is all but guaranteed to land the first blow. So he has Duelist's Edge +1 and Impact AM. We don't know what that is yet. It's power weapon, +2 to initiative, attacks is user, strength is user, AP 2, damage 2. Fitting, he's a Primarch, he should have an incredibly horrible weapon, especially if you want to go challenge him. So it is a +3. So does he only have 6 initiative? From base, if I'm understanding this right, he is 6 initiative and then plus all of this extra, it would put him up to 9. It would be base 8, because I suppose he's always going to be equipped with the White Tiger Dao. I'm a little confused, I'm going to be honest. There's a fair amount of nuance and flavour to these rules. Yeah, you're telling me. Making them great for an epic narrative moment within tactical combat choices. The duels are worth enjoying. And they're fought over several rounds until one party is dead or manages to withdraw. Okay, over the next few weeks, we'll be pitting some of the heroes of the Horus Heresy against one another in duels over on our social media pages. Let us know what face-offs you would like to see. We'll be back tomorrow, which is today, with more lore, so we can skip that, while we'll touch on the Force Organization chart, which is still very much with us. on Wednesday. We'll have a look at... Yeah, I can do Wednesday. We'll have a look at that. And vehicle rules on Friday. Yes, they're tougher. And no, we haven't changed how it all works. So that's good. Vehicles are just tougher because damage seems to have gone up in the game. Okay. I am not sure I'm understanding this. So you have weapons and things that give you a bonus to your initiative modifier and then your duelist skill, your focus roll. What it sounds to me like this is, which is a cool idea, I'm just not sure how it's implemented. It feels like it's slowing things down. But then I don't think that's a bad thing. But it sounds to me like you issue a challenge, your opponent accepts. Those two characters are now locked in combat until one of them dies or one of them gets away, depending on how you can get away. And you just make your attacks every turn. Would you pick a new gambit and see who strikes first? But there's this whole like meta game of picking what to do based on initiative. Weapons, obviously you can build characters with some of these weapons, or the big named characters will have fancy weapons to fit their sort of setting in the lore, the feel of their character hopefully. Like the Black Sword, like the White Tiger Dow. So this all sounds good, and obviously it's something that they've said takes place over a series of turns, which sort of fits, very narrative, battle going on around them. I can see all of that, but it feels quite a complex. I almost don't want to criticize it because what they're telling us is absolutely bugger all. They're just saying, we've got this system, you can add bonuses to a focus roll, and then whoever wins the focus roll gets to strike. What they don't say, but I think it's inferred, is that you go first. If you don't kill your opponent gets to hit you back. Then that combat is over, and then in the next combat phase, you do the same thing again. Is how I'm reading it. Don't know if that's correct, but there's nothing in this article, and there's nothing in my limited understanding of previous Heresy that says anything different. Narratively, I think that this is great. I think you could do it better. I think that this is quite convoluted. I think it's cool. Like, again, please don't misunderstand me for being negative. I'm not really being negative, I'm just pointing out what I perceive. I think that this is narratively great. I think it's going to slow games down. I think you're going to have to think about it. You're going to have to try and focus on what combats are happening where. You're going to be picking who's dueling who. There's a lot of nuance to it, as they say, but is that going to have a knock-on effect to slowing the rest of the game down? Is there going to be people who just don't want to do this? They haven't touched on what the negatives will be. They've just said hefty penalty to their combat ability that turn, but they haven't said what it is. Again, we have got, oh, here's an idea that we've put it into the rules, we're not actually going to tell you the rules. I feel like, one, they're making this out to be something new and they've probably just tweaked an old system. And two, they've given us just enough information for nobody to really get their head around it, understand it, know how it works, and think it's great. So as a preview, I don't think it's very good. As an idea and a concept, I think it's great. We're going to have to wait for the rulebook to get a full picture of what's going on, and if that's how they're going to do all of these previews, as they've done the last 3 or 4, that's really going to hurt the game, because people are going to get an idea of what something might be, right or wrong. They're going to get the rulebook, they're going to have the new Sat9 box with all of the stuff, they're going to skim through the rulebook, they're going to pick out, oh, this rule sounded great, what actually do you do? Oh, it's rubbish. Oh, I hate it. There's a potential for none of this to be how they're presenting it, which is usual for Warcom. It happens all the time, they get things wrong. I would just like a bit more detail and a bit less... No, I don't want any less of anything, to be honest. I just want a bit more detail. That's my thoughts on it, but I don't think I'm understanding this. I haven't had coffee yet, so that is also a big negative for me. I'm on a debuff here. I think they're giving you enough of a cool idea to say, hey, that's cool, but they're not giving you anything else, which is a failing of these previews. I'm on the fence. I will need to know more, but I will say, as an idea, I think it's really cool to create those epic battles, especially in such a hero-focused game as what Horus Heresy should be. That said, there is also all of the other battle going on around this combat, or it sounds like you can challenge 1 per turn, so you could potentially have 3 or 4 combats going off through the course of a game, which is really cool in narrative. But is it not pulling you away from everything else? I don't know. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comments. I've probably missed loads of things. I apologise on that front, but let me know what you think in the comments. I will obviously catch up with you guys there. I love hearing from people who have previously played the game or people who understand this stuff better than me and actually, you know, not in a negative way, but just trying to fill in the blanks that I've obviously created. So if you've got a better idea of how this is going to play out, or you have some sort of real world understanding of Heresy in the previous challenge system and how this is actually going to interact with the battle going on around, do let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts. We'll be back on Wednesday with another Heresy preview. It's tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with that. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.